Change is coming at Manchester United. INEOS are going to be revamping a lot of the stuff off the pitch and a lot of stuff on the pitch, including with the squad. And what I want to do in this video is going to be really interesting. I'm going to take a look at Manchester United's top earners, and I'm going to put into a list, keep or sell. Which of those players do I think really has a future at this club? Say in 2 years' time, which of these players do I think will be here? I'm going to run through the top 10. I might do the whole squad. We'll take a look. But change really is coming, and this is needed at Manchester United because no club is more inefficient with spending money than ours, and certainly when it comes to contracts. You can let me know what you think in the comments below, as you always do. If you enjoyed the video, hey, drop a like on it. But first thing I want to take a look at here is a really good chart here from the Devil's DNA on Twitter. And what it does is it plots on the x-axis here the league performance, expected goal difference per 90. The further to the right you are, the better you are. And the further up here, the higher your wage bill per week. Manchester United, right? We can see where United are. Huge on the wage bill. There is quite literally nobody above us on the wage bill per week. But look where we are in terms of performance. We're outperformed by Spurs on about half the wages that we pay per week. Aston Villa, Everton, Brighton, Brentford, Newcastle, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, City. Basically everybody of note and worth in the Premier League outperforms Manchester United when it comes to their wages versus performance. And that's why you're seeing articles like this pop up everywhere now. This was back in December saying United were open to offers for Casemiro, to Sancho, who else was down there? Varane, Martial, Van der Beek. You're seeing new articles like this, new conversations around Casemiro. So what I want to do is speak about who I think Ratcliffe will keep. Speak who I think, well, more importantly, actually, who Dave Brailsford and the new recruitment team will keep. And the best way to do that is this, right? So I'll tell you what this video is going to be. I'm going to run through the list, and I'm going to take those players and move them across into separate lists here. Keep or move on, not just necessarily sell, because some players have got contracts that are expiring, all right? And it starts with Casemiro, right? Do I think Casemiro is going to be kept or moved on? I honestly think this happens. Now, that might come down, this might not be popular, me saying this, but let me explain myself, right? Casemiro is somebody I expect Manchester United to move on. Casemiro is the absolute definition of Manchester United's short-term thinking. Didn't sign De Jong. Tchouameni's gone Real Madrid. Let's get Casemiro. Let's give him 300 and what? How many grand a week? Reportedly 350. He's one of our biggest earners. And I don't think he's going to be at this club in 2 years' time. We're going to have to replace Casemiro with another younger version of Casemiro. It's a financial disaster, the signing of Casemiro, and a short-term dopamine hit, which was incredible. But in the long term, the same thing exists. The same question exists around that position. I don't think Casemiro will be here in the long term at Manchester United. And nor do I think Rafa Varane will be. I think both of these players are going to be moved on. And I think Varane will leave for free in the summer. I don't know whether Casemiro will leave in the summer. I think it's possible if Manchester United can find the right replacement and we can do our recruitment properly. But I could easily see Casemiro being kept for one more year. But he's on 350 grand a week. It's so hard to sell these players on wages like that. We've struggled with Martial for so long. We're struggling right now with Sancho. We're going to have to pay 2/3 of Sancho's wages so he doesn't play for our club. That's how much of a catastrophe it's been. As I said, the biggest underperformers in the league compared to our wage bill. So I think Casemiro and Varane both will be moved on within 2 years. And we move on to Marcus Rashford. And I've got to be honest, I'm just going to put a mark next to Rashford's name. I don't think that Rashford will be sold unless a big offer comes in. Truth be told, I could really see... Now, I'm going to put Rashford down in the keep, okay? But that's not to say that I don't have doubts about Rashford now, because he got his massive contract and we've not seen him deliver since, really. Not in the long term. Rashford's been a shadow of himself this season compared to the 30-plus goals. Was it 30 goals he scored last season? It wouldn't surprise me if PSG came sniffing around Rashford this summer, because Mbappe's more than likely going to Real Madrid and probably on a free transfer as well. I think his brother met PSG before. I would put Rashford down as keep there, but I have questions, and that's why I would put a mark next to his name. Anthony Martial. Mute conversation. No point in talking about it. Let's go here. Let's go there. Martial, move on. And let's move on. There's no point wasting any time talking about Martial. Mason Mount. I mean, as it stands, I've got to put a mark next to him. It strikes me that we will keep Mason Mount, right? I think we will. I think in a couple of years' time, Mason Mount will still be a Manchester United player. But again, I think the questions are fair around it because he hasn't really been able to have any impact. I think he's missed like 60% plus of games so far this season. So you can't really judge on Mason Mount. And I try not to judge in a player's first season at the club. But I'm still putting and this is mad, right? These are our highest earners. And so far, I've gone down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I haven't found anybody who I would say I can guarantee they're going to be here in 2 years' time. And Jadon Sancho, I don't think will be either. Right? So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to put Jadon Sancho down this. These are all of our top earners. 4 out of our 6 top earners, I'm putting in the move on category within 2 years. You can't build around that. It's a massive misappropriation of money. Misappropriation? Well, just a waste of money. Now, Bruno Fernandes, in my opinion, I think he'll be here. I know not everybody agrees with that. But this is my opinion. And you can let me know in the comments below. But I personally would have confidence that Bruno will be here in 2 years' time. So I would actually put Bruno at the top of this list. I think that's probably one of the only ones that I would have actually any sort of confidence that he'll be here in a couple of years' time. Anthony. I don't think he will be. Anthony was the perfect example of a manager who signed who he thought was the best player available in that position because of what he knew, rather than signing the best player available in that position because they are the best player available in that position. If we had done our research, we could have easily signed Elise instead of Anthony. We could have easily signed Bakayoko. I mean, Bakayoko would be a little bit different. Elise, we definitely could have signed. Anthony, I don't think he'll be here in 2 years' time. I think it's going to be an expensive error for Manchester United, and I hope it's one of the last big expensive errors that we've made, because we have made so many of them. As I said, and I repeat, the biggest underperformers in the league compared to our wages. Now, back to this list. That's Casemiro, Varane, Martial, Sancho, and Anthony I think are going to go. That's 5. And I've got confidence that Bruno will be here. And I've got question marks around Rashford and Mount. So that's only, I mean, I would probably have question marks about Bruno as well, overall, but I have the least amount of questions around Bruno, if that makes sense. Now we go back to this list and we've got Harry Maguire. Again, I think Harry Maguire gets moved on. I think Manchester United will sell Harry Maguire in the summer, and I think that's the right thing to do. My opinion hasn't changed on whether I think Maguire is that, I just wrote Martial down, didn't I? Got Martial in my head. My opinion hasn't changed on whether I think Maguire is suited to us in the long term. I think he's done really well this season. But personally, I think moving Maguire on and getting somebody who plays the channels, who plays one-on-one defending and can cover space and is very athletic, is a far better overall suit and fit for our system that Ten Hag is going towards. And therefore, I think Maguire being moved on makes sense. And I think it's also the correct decision. And then the last person is Christian Eriksen, who at the age of 30, do I have any... No, I don't think he will be. I don't think that's an unfair thing to say. I don't think Eriksen will be here in 2 years' time. So out of our top 10 earners, and this is the madness of it all, right? There's no point in me doing the rest of it because I'll just be here all day. Just going on the top 10 earners at our club, that's Casemiro, Varane, Martial, Sancho, Anthony, Maguire, and Eriksen, who I don't think I've got really any confidence that they'll be here in 2 years' time. A lot of them, even in a year's time. And I've got question marks about Rashford because I think PSG are going to come sniffing. And if they offer a big amount of money, I think United might consider it. Just an opinion. Mason Mount, I'm not judging just yet. I hope he can come good, but I've got reservations about him. And Bruno, he may not be perfect, But he's the most creative player in this team, and I will continue to defend him. And some people might see that as a fault. But that's mad, isn't it? I go back here again and I look at this. And I look at Manchester United's top 10 earners. And there's only one player I'm putting a tick next to. There's 2 players that I'm putting question marks next to. And there's 7 that I don't think will be here in 2 years' time. To say that this overhaul is going to be massive is an understatement of the century. To say that it's necessary is an understatement of the century. And Brailsford has to get the appointments right. Dan Ashworth, hopefully. Paul Mitchell, I think, could be ideal. But, you know, the likes of Dougie Freedman, who's it? Julian Ward, ex-Liverpool as well. There's a few names in the recruitment side of things that could have attributes and be quality. But I think Dan Ashworth's the prime candidate for sporting director. But we've wasted so much money as a club. It's a horrible sentence to say, but I think it's true. I don't think the spending has been the problem under the Glazers in these last 10 years. It's been who's been in charge of spending that money and how much we've wasted. Had we spent better in these last 10 years, we wouldn't be in this position. But we have and we are. That's why I think this overhaul is needed. Who would you get rid of? As I said, that's my list. I don't think I would have any confidence in Casemiro, Varane, Martial, Sancho, Anthony, Maguire, or Eriksen being here in 2 years' time. Some are leaving on a free. Varane will probably leave on a free this summer. Martial too. I don't think Sancho will stay personally. And the rest you can have conversations about. And only one player I'd put a tick next to is Bruno. I'd have 2 question marks around Rashford and Mount. That's our top 10 earners at our club. And you wonder why we're underperforming. And as I said, the worst performing club in the league compared to our wage bill. We are incredibly good at wasting money and have been for so long. And that's one of the big, big changes that Ratcliffe and Brailsford and INEOS have to fix. Who would you get rid of? You let me know in the comments.